You're full of crap, Jake. Steam covered my eyes. A cloud of vapor, shrouding my brother's face in ghostly light. His deep brown eyes turned pitch black in the moonlit night. I know what I heard. She's in that damned house. Lit cigarette in his gloved hand, my brother pointed to the mouldering corpse of a house in front of us. Time and the elements had torn the building to pieces. Glass covered the front lawn like salt crystals, brickwork lined with gash-like cracks, and the smell of death filled my nose with every frigid breath I took in its presence. It could have been your imagination, or more likely some random woman screaming. It's a shifty neighborhood. I know what our sister sounds like. Remember when you used to sneak up behind her whenever we watched horror movies? She screamed loud enough to shake glass. If you were here when I heard it yesterday, you'd know that was Jane. The police say she ran off with her boyfriend. Do you really believe that? Our sister running off with some boy she had only known for a few months? I felt my stomach rise with unease at Jake's words. I knew, despite hope, that he was right. Our sister was never that kind of girl. She was quiet, nervous, but so warm, hardly speaking outside of school or home. It was a shock to us all when she came home with a boyfriend, but the idea she ran off with him was beyond belief. It had been 2 days since she went missing, but they felt like years. Her absence from our lives for even a couple of days was like the sun being absent from the sky. Cold, dark, horrifying. Then why don't you tell the police? If you know you heard something, report it. The chief constable is her boyfriend's uncle. Why do you think he said they ran off together while we said she would never do that? The implication was as clear as it was disgusting. My brother had always been protective towards me and Jane, paranoid even, which got even worse when she brought her boyfriend home. Jake never trusted him, and I hardly knew him. He didn't come by much after the first time, most likely because of Jake, which only seemed to confirm his suspicions. Suspicions that were becoming all too real to me as well. You don't think that is exactly what I think. So, are you with me? Jake took a long drag of his cigarette. The burning tobacco illuminated his face enough so that I could see the lines across his brow and the shadows under his eyes. Exhaustion and rage covered his face like a mask, a dark parody of the man I knew as my older brother. Without responding, I reached into his jacket pocket and took the pack of cigarettes and a bright green lighter, and placed the small white stick in my mouth, then fumbled with the lighter, trying to imitate how Jake had lit his own, and failing. The chill winds killing the flame as quickly as it came to life. Jake took the lighter and, covering it with a tightly cupped hand, brought the now very alive flame to my mouth. I breathed in. Don't tell Dad. After taking a long pull, I felt my blood bubble and my head get lighter. As I exhaled, the fear left my body, much like the smoke leaving my lungs. All that was left was a begrudging understanding of why my brother enjoys these cancer sticks so much. Yeah, I'm with you, bro. Let me finish this first. Gladly, I'm more than happy to share my little brother's first of many cigarettes. He laughed out those words. It felt shallow, but it was genuine. It made me realize just how much I needed to hear it again. As the embers advanced on my face, so did the heat until it became painful, but I didn't want to stop. Both probably due to the nicotine and the fear of going into that house. Finally, the flame reached the brown filter and sputtered out. leaving my eyes to adjust to the darkness. The house was illuminated by a pale white glow cast by the moon, the light only accentuating the building's off-putting nature. "Ready?" Hand on my shoulder, Jake breathed his question. The steam danced over his face. "Ready." I tried to sound sure, but I could tell from his eyes that he could feel me trembling under his firm hand. I could only hope that he thought it was the cold. Jake took the lead and walked steadily towards the house as I followed. The tall grass hid brittle twigs and smaller bits of glass, and with every step I took, the sound of something delicate being shattered filled my ears. It was an oddly somber sound. I felt beyond grateful for my hard winter boots in this field of shattered glass and rotting wood. Soon, Jake and I passed the front lawn unscathed, and the corpse of a home loomed over us, blocking the moon from our eyes. 3 stories of oily black stone, decrepit wooden frames, and planks of wood in place of windows. "Hey, Mark, turn on your phone's torch so I could see the lock." Without speaking, I quickly pulled out my phone and lit up the door, battery at 70%. Jake took out 2 paper clips and inserted them into the lock, only for the door to slowly open with a ghastly moan. Damn, I can't believe I wasted 2 hours of my life watching lockpick videos for nothing. Jake slowly pushed the handle, and musty, stale air filled my chest. I fell to my knees and began to heave. My throat was heavy and my lungs were straining for air. Jake reached down, pulled me to my feet, one hand on my back and the other on my chest. It helped a little, but not enough. "Breathe, Mark, breathe." He pulled me back from the house and onto the front lawn, holding me up so I didn't fall flat on my face. I felt tears well in my eyes. I tried to hold them back, but it only made it worse. They came streaming down my face in 2 hot lines of shame. "You stay here and keep watch. I'll go in and look for Jay." I looked up at my brother. The moon was on his back. I could hardly see his face. No. I'm fine." I turned from him. The shame made me unable to meet his eye. "I just need some time to catch my breath." I was lying. He knew it, and I knew he knew it. Even with my fear and disgust, I still wanted to go in, to be brave like Jake. I just crouched there, with my hands on my knees, bracing myself while refusing to touch the ground, greedily sucking in air for God knows how long. It was only after my eyes stopped watering and my lungs stopped aching that I noticed the cold absence where something warm was before. "Jake! Jake!" He was gone, and the front door was wide open. I stayed outside, lost in the cold night, pacing back and forth, trying to keep warm as the battery on my phone was whittled away from podcast after podcast. Time blended into itself and I couldn't tell a minute from an hour, until a deep, raspy yell snapped me out of my stupor. Blood was rushing in my ears, my eyes bulged and my skin was aflush with goosebumps. That scream had to have been Jake. Something must have happened to him. Someone must be in there too. My phone was now at 10%, and I couldn't wait any longer. I didn't want to believe that he had gotten hurt, but it was like Jake said. I know what my brother sounds like. I wanted to call Mum and Dad. I wanted to run home, wrap myself in my covers, bury my face in a pillow, fall asleep and never wake up. But Jake was still in that house, alone, because I was too scared. Before I knew what was happening, my legs were carrying me towards the house. the fear barely kept at bay by the odd mix of determination and hate burning at the forefront of my mind. When I came to the open door, I began to retch and my stomach flexed in on itself. I barely managed to keep dinner down as the sickeningly rank odor of decay and musky air filled my sinuses. Stumbling through the doorway, I had to prop myself up on a wooden drawer next to the front door to stop from falling. I grabbed my phone, turned on the torch at the lowest brightness to save power, and took in my surroundings. The inside of the house was as filthy as the outside would imply. I was in the hall that connected the front door to the rest of the house, and every piece of wooden furniture within was covered in mold and spotted with hundreds of termite burrows. My torch shimmered from the moist, cold air. The floor was covered in scraps of clothing, dishware, and blood. Old and dried, but unmistakably blood. A chill ran down my spine. I had to keep telling myself that the blood was old. Probably from kids exploring the house or some thieves looking for any forgotten valuables. I moved my hand across the drawer, trying to find a better position to rest my weight, and felt a sharp pain in my thumb. Shining the light revealed a cut and a large smudge of blood. It was oddly comforting to see that my theory of where the blood came from was seemingly true. I looked to whatever cut me, and found a broken picture frame with a photo of 3 people standing in front of a grey background. A tall man with a large white coat, a blue scarf, and matching-coloured hair. A woman with short brown hair, brown eyes, wearing a red crop top and skirt. Smiles on their faces, and their hands rested on what appeared to be the shoulders of a little girl. The red trace of my blood nearly completely obscured the girl's appearance. The only indication that she was a girl was her long grey dress. Despite the circumstances, I felt guilty for soiling such a happy picture, and placed it back with care. The living room was empty, save for some useless bits of furniture too large to have been stolen by any prospecting scavengers. By now, I had enough control over myself to not lose to the stench, despite how the moist air seemed to cling to the inside of my nose with desperate fervor. Leaving the front room, I walked through the hall and past the stairs to the second floor and into the kitchen. The sound of breaking ceramic, shattered glass, and crushed bugs followed my every footstep, along with the ever-present smell of death. All the appliances were either stripped for parts or discarded on the floor. There was no sign of Jake to be found. As I moved towards what seemed to be a dining room, past a half-open door on the other side of the room, a low, creaking noise sounded from the floor above. "Jake? Is that you?" No reply came, only another low creak, and another, and another. Whoever that was, they were coming down the stairs, towards the hall, the only way out. I didn't know what to do. I just stood there, petrified, racking my brain, trying to think of something, before suddenly, a light tug pulled at the back of my coat. The air left my body, and shock overrode my natural impulse to scream. My phone still shining its dim glow, I quickly turned my eyes and said glow to whatever was pulling at my coat. Looking down, my legs went weak. It was a little girl. She was as filthy as the house itself, a white dress rendered black and splotched with yellow sweat marks. Her hair was matted, poorly shaped into uneven pigtails, the colour obscured by filth. Her face was hidden by darkness and strands of greasy hair. "Will you help me? My mummy's here, she's coming. She's coming to kill me," she whispered with shaky breath, her voice croaky. "What? Your mother? Who are you?" "Please, keep me from her. I don't want to die." She let out a soft cry at those last few words, her hollow eyes filling with tears as she continued to tug on my coat. My mind went blank. So many questions played at once that they all blended into a white noise. A numbing buzz that left me stuck in place until another creak filled my ears and brought me back to reality. "Okay, is there anywhere we can hide?" Pure survival took as the sound of creaking footsteps came down the stairs, each one a long, mournful sigh, coming with ever-increasing frequency. "Yes, we can hide in the basement. It's at the back of the house, so we won't run into Mummy." The idea of hiding from an insane hobo in the basement of this putrid house was hardly appealing, but the girl was right. There was no other way to exit the house apart from the front door. Every other exit was boarded up years ago. I had no choice. No matter how much I wanted to pummel that crazy hobo to death for hurting my brother, a mix of fear and newly discovered protective instinct demanded I follow this girl and protect her from whoever the hell was coming down those stairs. Her small hand still gripping my coat, she pulled me past the ruined dining room to the back of the house, where a wooden trapdoor with a metal handle lay on the far left side. I rushed to it, placed my phone on the ground, and strained to open the heavy wooden door. The sound of creaking footsteps became louder and clearer with each passing instant. My heart was racing, my arms were aching, and the girl stood there, stark still, in the dim light of my phone torch, her back to me, watching the path to the front of the house, where footsteps came, louder and clearer, continuously. "Mummy's here." Pure hot terror filled my bones at those words, filled with a mad, desperate fear. I gave the trapdoor one last pull, and it came open with a sudden rattle of the hinges. An ocean of stench washed over my face, cold air that reeked of hell. Without making a sound, the girl rushed to climb down the wooden ladder that led into the pure black void. Once she was down, I grabbed my phone, pocketed it, and rushed to follow. And as I did, I caught sight of something. Pure crimson red in the dark, before slamming the door shut. I gripped onto the wooden ladder for dear life, struggling to keep myself from losing balance with no light to guide my steps. After a few moments, my feet landed on something that wasn't wooden. Something hard, something cold, something wet. "Hey, where are you?" It's okay. I think we lost her. I don't hear her anymore. Please say something." There was no answer. Silence and darkness filled the room, a coffin too large for any one person. In desperation, I grabbed my phone and saw it was only on 1%, but there was no signal. I didn't care about finding my brother or sister anymore. I just wanted light. I turned on the torch at full power and found the source of the smell. On the stone floor were bodies. So many bodies. Varying states of near total desiccation or still fresh, writhing with every kind of disgusting insect God placed on the earth. The faces of those who still had faces were frozen in an eternal scream, open mouths wriggling with maggots. Among them, placed close to the center, were Jake, Jane, and her boyfriend. Screams. Nothing but screams on their faces. From the corner of my sight, something moved, like a curtain in early summer wind. I shone my light at whatever it was and saw her, the girl, in perfect clarity. Her neck was twisted, and the bones jutted out below her skull, pulling tightly on pale skin. She looked into my soul, with eyes as hollow as the grave. "I'm sorry." The fear in her voice was gone, now filled with venom and glee. I felt a presence at my back, and hands closing around my neck. "But she already got me," I screamed.